Welcome to Chef Richard's Kitchen. I'm Chef Richard Miller. Today we're going to make a treat that just about everybody likes. In fact, I don't know anybody that doesn't like ice cream. And ice cream is extremely easy to make. There's a couple of steps you have to go through, and there's two traps you got to watch for, and I'll show you both of those. But for right now, what I'm going to make is I'm going to make a chocolate cherry cordial ice cream, and this is made with semi-sweet chocolate chips, and it's also made with maraschino cherries. So let's get started. The first step is we're going to have some egg yolks. And we're going to have egg yolks and some heavy cream. And what this is going to do is this is what's going to make it creamy and allow it to churn very well. So I'm going to start out with about 8 egg yolks. And 3/4 cup of sugar. Now, can you make this actually a little less, with a little less fat and a little less calorie? Absolutely. But I'm showing you this way, and we'll come back more than likely, and I'll show you how to make it with a sugar substitute, and how actually to make more of an ice milk is what we used to call it. So, we take and we whisk our sugar and our eggs together. Until we get a nice homogeneous mixture in here. Alright. Now we're going to take and we're going to put 2 cups of cream. And 1 cup of whole milk. Right. Now we're going to go into the first trick here. Now the first trick is we have to heat the cream and the milk mixture up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and I'm going to put in a couple more ingredients. Number 1, I've got about a teaspoon and a half, couple teaspoons of amaretto, which is an almond liqueur. About half a teaspoon of salt. And about, half to 3/4 teaspoon of vanilla. Alright. So, now we're going to take this over to the stove, and we're going to heat it up till we get to 185, 190 degrees. So, let me go to the stove. Alright, since the milk was cold, this is actually going to take a little while to heat up. Now, my trusty thermometer. And we're going to use that to make sure. They've often said that you can use the back of a spoon, and by how it runs off the back of the spoon, you can tell when it's ready. I'm not so sure that I can tell things that close, but what I can do is I can read the thermometer. So that's what we're going to do. When it gets up to 185, 190 degrees, we're going to take it off the heat. We're up to about 89, so we're starting to heat up, but we got a little ways to go. So I'll be right back. Okay, it's up about 145 degrees. So we've got a few minutes left. Now, I'm whisking it pretty much continuously here. And the reason is I don't want it to stick on the bottom. It develops kind of a burnt taste. And really, that's not what you're looking for when you're looking for a good flavor ice cream. So, go ahead and whisk it often. You probably don't need to continuously, but I'd sure whisk it quite a bit. Make sure it doesn't stick on the bottom. $1.95. It's right where we want it to be. So, let me go ahead and let's take this and let's go back to the counter. Alright, our first hurdle that we got over was using the thermometer. Now, what we're going to do is we have to go over our second, and this is the critical hurdle right here, and that's we're going to have to get a hot milk mixture into an egg mixture without scrambling the eggs, because we don't want scrambled egg ice cream. So what we have to do here is we have to temper it. And tempering is putting in the hot liquid while we whisk just a little bit at a time until it gets to a good temperature where it isn't going to scramble them anymore. Then we can put the rest in. So I'm just going to take and put a little bit of milk in here. Okay, we've pretty much gotten it a good liquid form and not scramble. So now let's go probably by quarters. Put a quarter of it in, whisk it, put another quarter in. And now we're not going to, pretty much not going to have to worry about it anymore. All right. Okay, now, this is what I took off the maraschino cherries. I got a jar and used probably about half of it. I cut the cherries up in quarters, and that's what we're gonna put in when we go ahead and put in our little chocolate mini chips. And I've probably got what, third, half a cup of the juice. This is just going to give it a little pink tinge, which if you look at Cherry Cordial ice cream, that's pretty much what it has. Okay, now, one thing is we've not really cooked a lot other than heated the milk up in this. And if you were serving something pretty much uncooked, what would you be worried about? Probably the eggs, right? And salmonella and stuff. Well, what we're going to do now is we're going to take this mixture and we're going to put it back into our kettle, our saucepan. And we're going to take it back to the stove. Now what I want to do is I want to heat it up to 185 degrees again. And the reason I'm going to do this is twofold. Number one, when you get up to that temperature, the eggs and the cream will set, and when you raise it up to that temperature, basically you're pasteurizing your mixture. And what pasteurizing is they take and they heat a liquid up to about 175 degrees, something like that, and then hold it there for a little bit, and then that takes the germs out of it, or that kills all the bacteria that's in there. And that's what we're going to be doing here. So let's just go back over to the stove again, and let's go ahead and heat it up. Now, since we put our egg mixture in there, it's dropped temperature a little bit. How far? About 135 degrees. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're just going to whisk it, and we're just going to raise it back to temperature again. Now, while this is raising to temperature, what I want to do is I want to go back and I'm going to have to put this custard back in a bowl. So I want to wash it since there's been raw egg in there. $165. We look in here and we notice it really hasn't started to thicken up. It won't until it gets to be about 180 degrees. I've always found that 185 to 190 is just about right for when, after we get it cooled down real nice and we churn it, it gives a very, very, very good smooth ice cream. All right, now we look at it, we can see that it's thickening. So it should be about 185 to 190. So let's go ahead and turn the heat off, and let's go back to the counter. Okay, now you go ahead, you can see the custard, and that's what it's known now as. All the ingredients are in there. It's known as the custard. And we can see that the egg and the cream have thickened up a little bit, but it's not going to be nearly the consistency of ice cream yet, simply because what we have to do now is we're going to have to chill this down, and we're going to have to put it in a freezing bowl, and we're going to have to pretty much freeze it. And while we churn it, that's going to do two things. Number one, it's going to expose all the area to the cold sides, which is going to tend to freeze it quicker. It's also going to take it, it's going to aerate it, and that's going to give it a creamy flavor, or a creamy texture. But you know how I've been harping on you all the time. Taste it, right? Very good. Very good. You can taste the maraschino, you can taste the amaretto, or the almond that's in there. You can taste just a little bit of the vanilla in there, just a subtle hint. So right here, I think we're right on. I put a little salt in there, and it seems just enough salt just to brighten it a little bit. We don't want to taste salty. It's a sweet treat, dessert type. But remember, things can taste flabby and dull without a little salt in them. So put a little bit in and brighten it. So anyway, what we're going to do now, going to go ahead and I'm putting it back in the bowl. That's the reason I washed it. Now, I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to put this in the refrigerator, and I'm probably going to leave it there at least 4 hours and probably overnight. I'll probably turn this tomorrow morning. But we need to have it cold. And the reason is without commercial refrigeration or without refrigeration, we're pretty much relying on either the freezer or ice. And there's two ways you can do it. One, I have a bowl that fits on the KitchenAid that basically, is with water inside two walls and room to expand. You throw that in the freezer, leave it there for a day or so till it's nice and frozen. You pull it out and you can churn your ice cream. It has enough capacity in there that it retains the cold in there long enough to do a batch. As long as our batch isn't hot when we put it in there, that'd warm it up too fast. What I do is I go ahead and I put this in the refrigerator, let it chill down to about between 35 and 40 degrees. That way when I go ahead and I put it in the freezing bowl, there's plenty of cold in there, it churns up right away. As far as the maraschino cherries and the chips, what we're going to do is we're going to put these in when it comes time to churn. And when we churn it, we're going to put these in and we're going to, then mix everything together. Then what we'll do is we'll put it in a container, put it back in the freezer again for a couple hours because it'll actually be the consistency of soft serve at that point. We'll put it in there and it'll be the consistency of ice cream in a couple hours. So let me go ahead and put this in the refrigerator and we'll see you when it gets cold. So don't go away. It'll only be a second camera time. All right, our cherry cordial custard has been in the refrigerator overnight. And we're just getting ready to bring out the bowl for the mixer here, and we're going to churn it. But before we do that, we have a couple of things we have to do. Number one, and we did this yesterday, is we took our maraschino cherries and we cut them into about fourths. That way we'll go ahead and we'll churn them in. The other thing is we want to put some little chocolate chips in there. Now, you can either take these mini chips like this and put them in, and that's fine. It'll work great, it'll taste good. The only thing is, I'm not really that much of a fan of the texture of biting down on a little mini chip. I'd much rather have something, either smoother or a little smaller than that. And so what I do is I have this little meat grinder attachment here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take these little mini chips and I'm going to run them through. You see, this grinds them down, and even though it may tend to make a little ribbon out of it, it's still not nearly as tough and as hard as the little chips were. So it still feels much better on the mouth. Okay, now our chocolate has been ground. You can see where, you know, they kind of make little figure nines in here. If you want to go ahead and take and break them up a little bit, I kind of do. We'll go ahead and do that. But even if you bite down on these now, it's going to have a mushy, not a mushy, but it's not going to be a real hard crunch on them anymore. Okay, there's our chocolate. Let me go ahead and clean this up, and then I'm going to go ahead and get the bowl out, and we're going to get the churning mechanism out, and we're going to make our ice cream. So I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to go ahead and we're going to churn our cherry cordial custard now. And what I have is I have a bowl here, and this bowl is probably about 1.25 inches, you know, thick walls here, and that's actually filled with water, except for about that much from the top, so that, you know, the water can expand. And what you do is you put this in your freezer for a day or so before you churn, and then there's plenty of cold in here that'll remove any of the heat from your custard here, and it'll churn it right away. What we want to do also is we have a little ice cream churn that fits down in there, and we have a little adapter that fits right on the mixer such. So what we do is we put that in there, we put our bowl on there, and then raise our bowl so that it comes right up and it mixes in with the little churn. And there we go. All right, now what we're going to do is we want to churn this until it gets to about the consistency of soft serve. And I went ahead and I transferred this to a big measuring cup just because this is a lot easier to pour in there. And I don't want to pour it in all at once. So let's go ahead and get started. Right? And I'm just going to let this get nice and cold, then we're going to put the rest in. Now it's going to take about 25 minutes or so. Now this custard was a little more firm coming out of the refrigerator than it often is, so it may not take as long. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take periodic pictures of this so you can get an idea on how it's going. Now what it's going to do is eventually it's going to probably about double in volume. You can tell that's when it's starting to freeze and aerate in there. And that's when we're going to start putting in our little goodies like our maraschino cherries and our little chocolate pieces. So once again, when it gets to that point where it's starting to look like soft serve, I'll go ahead and I'll get another picture of that so you can see what it looks like, and then we'll put in our goodies. So I'll be back. Okay, that's just about right. Okay, that's just about right. It looks like nice soft serve in there now. So let's go ahead and put in our little goodies. right, as I just showed on the decal camera, it's looking really good. So I'm going to start putting in our little goodies and letting them turn into the ice cream. Alright, let me stop, and I'm going to scrape this down just like we would with anything else that we were blending. Alright. Now I'm just going to turn it a little bit more. Okay, you can see right here how everything's getting well incorporated in there, and it's getting a lot stiffer. So it's just about time we're going to be taking this out, and we're going to put it in a little ice cream bowl, and then we're going to stick it in the freezer for a while to solidify. Okay, as you can no doubt see there, it's extremely stiff and it's ready to go. So this is when I prefer a little scoop type spatula. And we're just going to take our ice cream out, and we're going to put it in one of these little food grade containers. And I got these on Amazon. They even call them ice cream containers. Okay. There we have our ice cream. Now what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to stick this in the freezer. And if you want to have it in a cone like soft serve, this is a perfect time to do it. You know, but if you want it a little harder, like you dish into a bowl, you just put it in the freezer for a couple hours, and it'll be fine then. So. Oh, and what do we do with the rest of this that's in here? Well, you can either put it in another little bowl and put it in the freezer as well, or let's just call it chef's privilege, okay? I'll be right back. We just made a nice cherry cordial ice cream. For garnish, I just simply put a cherry on top. If you want, you can put a mint sprig or something like that. Parsley, nah, that doesn't exactly go too well with it. But, you know, it takes a little while, but boy, the results are worth it. It was absolutely delicious. Now, remember what I always told you have to do when you make something? I know it's difficult, but sometimes a chef just has to sacrifice himself, you know, to make sure that it's edible. I think it is. It's very good. It has a very good cherry taste. It has tastes of chocolate in there. You can taste the creaminess. Well balanced, you know, tastes delicious. You could serve this, you know, to anyone and, you know, never worry about it. It'll be delicious. People will rave. So, anyway, here's something again that you can step outside your comfort zone, and if you follow the little simple instructions, It's actually very easy to do. So I'll go ahead and I'll ask you to give it a try. Let me know how you do. I'm always interested in, people sending me comments and email. I don't get many comments, but I do get some email. And let me know how you do. If you have any suggestions, anything else like that, feel free. In the meantime, give a thumbs up for this and hopefully you'll subscribe. So, in the meantime, you take care. God bless. Remember that cooking is always supposed to be fun. And I'll see you next episode. Bye for now.